I think you're going to love this video right here. You're going to find it funny, entertaining, interesting, enlightening, informative, and also probably helpful. Most of us are aware of the site called Nextdoor. I joined it a couple months ago, and it can be very good or it can be very bad. It's what you make of it. Basically, you want to think before you post there, because you're sharing this information and posting on things that are going to be seen by your neighbors. And we'd like to get along with our neighbors, right? Of course we do. But what some people do on this site is they use it to post petty things. Like, I don't want a free newspaper in my yard. Or, I mean, just really ridiculous petty things some people complain about, like a little pup pooed in my front yard. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I think it should be for more important things. And it can be very useful for things like sharing information on crime to help keep your community safe. And the reason that is because the information that you're giving, if you know of a crime that happened in your area, you don't always get information quickly from police, because many times when it comes to felony crimes, they try to curtail and hold out information on these because the police department, the police chief, the mayor, and all these politicians want you to believe that you live in this perfect, wonderful neighborhood that has no crime. And they do this because they want to keep their job right, of course. But we know no neighborhood's perfect. Fortunately, the neighborhood I live in actually is really, really good. Very low crime and quite safe. But not everywhere is like that. And there is crime, of course, that occurs in my neighborhood, but it's sporadic. But yeah, that's what it is. This site is what you make it, like I said. And tonight I'm going to show you some postings that I made that are pretty funny and interesting, intriguing, enlightening, and also hopefully helpful here. Because this is a site that, you know, I mean, it's very interesting because that's what's going to happen. When you post on this site, this information is going to your neighbors. And typically, when you start talking about different things to your neighbors, there's going to be a lot of agreements and disagreements on things. So you got to be careful what you post here. But like I said, it's very good for reporting crime information. It's an excellent site for reporting a lost dog or a found dog that you want to try to find the owner of. Because the great thing about it is, typically, say your dog is lost in the neighborhood, somebody around your neighborhood is going to see it or might know where it is or who has it. And so posting to them can be very helpful. And if you find a dog that's lost, you can take a picture of it and post it to all your neighbors. And somebody's probably going to tell you whose dog that is, and it'll get back to its correct owner. So this can be a great site for those type things. But you got to be careful what you post on this site, because if not, all hell could break loose on this site. So this screenshot you see right here is from 9 hours ago. Now what I did is I edited out the last names of these people just in case they may not want this shared, even though they aren't a public site, so it really shouldn't matter, but just being considerate. And I also edited out the exact locations. But I want to read this to you. This is really funny. So this man Steve, he posted, "This is becoming a who can bitch the most site." And I've seen it. I know what he's talking about. He says, "I have never seen before amount of people bitching about everything you can imagine of. Nobody does anything about it but bitch. If you want something better than doing something about it, just don't complain about it here. This is getting out of hand. Bitch, bitch, bitch. That's all I see. Let's get some action involved instead of mouth action. I bought a house in Driftwood 17 years ago and cut down every tree in my yard. But every year I clean up mounds of leaves and neighbors' trees. I don't complain, I just clean up the leaves. Do I like it? No, I just do it. Why doesn't everyone else do the same? Just do your part and stop complaining about everything under the sun. Grow up, people." And I have to agree with him on this, a lot of this. So after that, soon after, I posted this comment here, and I'm just going to read you these comments. So this is from me, the first comment I posted there. "It is good you're exposing this problem, Steve, and we should all discuss this issue, in my opinion." And also referring to another comment. "Brian, I have a question. Why are dogs discriminated against and not cats? A cat owner can watch their feline crap in the neighbor's yard, and that seems to be okay. But if my little sweet dog does this, people go wacko." And that's true. By the way, I love dogs and cats both, but I get 10 times more cat crap in my yard than I do dog crap. One night I accidentally forgot to bring my little paper to pick the mess up from my pup, and a lady came out of her house like the Wicked Witch of the West screaming at me. I was nice though and asked her if she had a plastic bag. She did, and I picked the little piece of crap up from her front yard. I think the elevated level of her blood pressure did more damage to her than the little piece of crap did to her heavenly yard. What happened really did not affect me any more than just remember to bring a paper towel next time I go for the walk. And then I go on to say, this type of site can do good, but it can also do bad. The problem is nowadays people take offense to things too easily. And I understand that no one wants a big crap dumped in their front yard. I understand that. And out of respect for others, everyone should pick up after their pet does what nature intends them to do outside. But one other thing to consider is dogs sometimes have diarrhea. So just because a dog is bent over with his or her butt up in the air, aimed towards the ground, that does not mean there will soon be something to pick up off the ground. Sorry, I had to mention that, but it's true. I must agree with Brian. This is not a place to post about a dog or a cat crapping in your yard. This will hopefully be the last time I ever comment about this subject on here. What some people do is use this site for a way to embarrass a neighbor about something petty that should be taken care of privately. But I suppose the rules here allow people to do this. I go on to say, a few months ago I posted a video in regards to politics. And for those that know me, you know who I'm talking about. I don't even have to mention the name, but I'll go on and talk about this guy. So a few months ago I posted a video in regards to politics here only because what I was sharing was an important event that took place in U.S. history. I knew that posting it here would ruffle a few feathers, but I did not think people would want to start World War III over the posting. The rules don't allow important political things to be discussed or viewed here. Personally, I believe more in freedom of speech since I support our First Amendment rights strongly. I did not regret that posting one bit though. People need to loosen up and not be so easily offended these days. I chose to remove that posting only because I did not want any neighbors taking sides against each other. But a site like this can do so much good also. When it comes to crime, we can use this site to find out information that can keep us safer. Many times things are withheld from us when it comes to serious felony crimes. Many excuses can be used for doing this, but the main reason is because law enforcement officials and politicians want people to believe they are protected and safe at all times. In other words, no one wants to lose his or her job. This site can also be wonderful for finding lost pets and also for reporting large, aggressive, and dangerous animals loose in the neighborhood. We are blessed with a good police department, but no department is perfect, so often we must work together to help each other out. My opinion is to think careful before you post and ask yourself, is what you are posting going to be beneficial to most everyone in your neighborhood? If it's something petty and controversial, then just don't post it. Then a guy named Frank replies here and says, "Bravo, Charles. I think the problem is that people have too much free time on their hands. I have 2 kids in nursing school, one in high school and one in grammar school. My wife and I have full careers, and I have way too many hobbies. How long do you think that lady was at her window waiting for you to pass by? We all live in a community where people have many different tastes and lifestyles. I've never had to call code or law enforcement or have never complained to City Hall. I just take care of my business and my life. What happens is can falls out of the truck. What happens is when a can falls out of a truck garbage day and someone complains to their civic association. The association complains to the council member, and before you know it, laws are passed and you are suddenly wrapping your garbage like a kilo of Coke and locking it in an approved garbage bunker." And I responded, "To answer your question, Frank, probably all day and night long because she was mad at her hubby and she wanted to find someone to take her frustration out on. She took it out on me and my sweet pup." By the way, I agree with you and Vita all above. In my opinion, we have way too many laws and ordinances. And the problem is when people start complaining about petty things, the legislators then start implementing more annoying laws and ordinances. Below is a list of a few things I don't like, but I just do what I have to do to keep things peaceful. My neighbor has a huge oak tree and I have no large trees, so because of this I am constantly raking up leaves in my yard by the tons. But then I look at it this way. The tree is pretty and provides shade to my house and yard. So I accept that I must rake up tons of leaves annually, and I don't complain about it, especially not here on this site. And also, looks like the top part of this got cut off, but basically, whoever invented the lawn blower sucks. Because what do these things do? They blow what one does not want in his or her yard into someone else's yard. So in order to give my neighbor a hint, I bought a machine that sucks the leaves up into a bag that can then be emptied into the garbage. I took the sucking machine back because the weight of the leaves in the bag pulling on my shoulder was not comfortable. And this is me saying this, of course I'm going on. So I then went back to the old method of raking the leaves up like a good neighbor, and I never complained about the leaves. Never complained to her about the leaves. Or even the lawn man blower for that matter. Why? Because a little extra work on my part keeps things peaceful. That's why. She and I get along good, and now that keeps us both happy. And crazy enough, there are laws for little poops left in the yards, but not for tons of leaves dropped from huge trees into other yards. I think that's so crazy. And not only that, it gets all of the car, and then I can't keep my car clean. This is why we must be careful who we elect and who becomes legislators in our community. On another note, I don't have a boat, but recently tried to take away boats from people's driveways and yards. Just another dumb law in my opinion. What they should concentrate on is making sure the boats that are in front yards are safe for children and adults and not held up by something like a wooden stool. And trust me, I've seen this several times. It's just crazy. Vita says, I agreed. Too much time on the hands. We put our garbage can 3 hours early because we were leaving, and the neighbor called code on us. That's so ridiculous. Code came out and issued a warning and apologized that we have a crappy neighbor. And apologize that we have a crappy neighbor. Kim says, and all the complaining about the free newspapers. And I replied to that. That's a good one, Kim. I get free newspapers also, and I don't complain about getting them on my lawn. I found a way to use them. I put the newspapers on the floor. This way, when it's raining hard and Pup can't go outside to do her business, she could go on the newspaper. Another way to turn something you may not like into something useful and creative. And then our last comment on this, I said, being positive and upbeat is the best way to live life. I think we can all agree on that. I believe Steve was just trying to show us that many things that might seem major problems to some people are actually quite petty. In life, we have to give a little in order to receive kindness and love back from others. And I also think that good health is a blessing that should be cherished dearly, since somebody mentioned something about that. And there you go.